So remember last night when I made that video saying that this could be one of the best skills we've ever gotten, that it could be our first true counter skill, where Rimuru would negate some damage and then counterattack, dealing damage back. A true future attack prediction. This Rimuru is the laziest thing I have ever seen in my life, and also probably the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my life. So you'll probably notice, hopefully, if you can read. If you can't read, I'll go ahead and just give it to you straight. He doesn't dodge at all. Not with his skills. His first skill is crit resistance down and crit rate for earth and fire units, making him immediately useless. And then a 100% magic attack once it's maxed out, obviously, and then 150 points on turn 8. Evasion rate when you send 6 blues. That's his future attack prediction. You get a up to 60% evasion rate if you pull him 3 times, making it a totally pay-to-use skill. Not only is this incredibly insulting that you would lock this new ability behind needing to spend money for the unit, unless you just got obscenely lucky and 120'd him in like 3,000, or not 3,000, in like 3 multis. I mean, if you did that, here's my issue. This entire meta, this entire determination to prosper meta, is the Season 3 celebration. This is what we are doing to celebrate Season 3 of the anime. It's Part 2, technically, because the Commander meta last month was Part 1 of that celebration. My issue here, could you guys be fucked to care at all? Just this one time? Because you want to know what's even more ridiculous? You want to know what we got when the Visions of Coleus OVA came out? This. Remember this team right here? This extraordinarily good team? Violet, Jean, Blanc, the introduction of the Unity Orbs, Synergy. This is what we got for an OVA. A 3-episode OVA that half the fan base didn't even watch. And that's not me digging at the OVA. Visions of Coleus OVA is great. It's just a matter of fact that a lot of people didn't fucking watch it. I don't think a lot of people knew it existed for some weird reason. This is what we get for Season 3. A half-assed pay-to-win unit. You couldn't be fucked to put some effort in? Like, at all? Just this one time, you couldn't put some effort in? Why did you put more effort in for the OVA? Because it also just so happened to be your 2nd anniversary? Alright, well what about the Scarlet Bond movie? Scarlet Bond movie, we got the Fire Violet. To this day, probably the best single target fire unit in the game. Simply due to them never releasing fire units. Still an incredibly good unit to this day, and she's a regular 5-star, not even an EX unit. Not even an EX unit. Still usable to this day. Do you expect this Rimuru to still be used a year and a half from now? Do you expect Elmesia to still be used 3 months from now? Do you expect Maribel or Luminous to be used 3 weeks from now? No. Quite frankly, Season 3 premiering, you should have treated that bigger than your 3rd anniversary. Because I don't know if you understand this or not, your game only exists because of the anime. I can promise you, Tensura fans are like Dragon Ball fans. What do I mean by that? I mean none of them know how to fucking read, because none of them do. You only have anime watchers in your player base, except for the 1% like me that could actually be fucked to open YouTube and have someone else read the damn light novel for me. This is just a horrible way to celebrate what is essentially the biggest celebration of the year for them. This celebration is bigger than the 3rd anniversary. It is. Because with the anime airing, this game has more eyes on it right now than it will when the 3rd anniversary starts. Especially since when the 3rd anniversary starts, Season 3 will be ending. part 1 of the 3rd anniversary might do fantastic. Part 2 of it is going to be right in that spot where people stop giving a shit about Tensura and drop everything about it, including its games. They should have treated this celebration as though it was their 3rd anniversary. This should have been the best team we got for the entirety of 2024. This should have been 2024's Vengeance. Obviously not in the same way, don't just make a new Vengeance team, but in terms of how good it is, this should have been what Vengeance was last year. But instead, I'd be hard-pressed to say that this team is better than, like, the Tempest Elite team. It's not technically bad, but are you ever gonna actually use it? No? Why did you choose now to be lazy pieces of shit? To put 0 effort into your units? Why did you choose now to do that? The most crucial time. When you had the most eyes on your game. Since its release. Because when the game first came out, Season 2 had just ended. So this is the most amount of eyes your game has ever had since its release. And you chose now to be lazy pieces of shit. And to just put 0 effort into your team build. I don't get the thought process. I don't think I need to tell you not to summon for this reroll. Alright? I'm done ranting about this shit. Don't summon. This entire meta is stupid. Like I said yesterday, in concept, I love this team. In execution, it might be the worst team we've ever gotten.